I want to do a spotlight video on this. This is an Encyclia garciana. Wait, Encyclia garciana. There we go. That's what it is. Oh, and it smells. I like the way it smells. It kind of smells like crayons, sweet crayons. I just think it smells great, but it's a weird smell. So somebody else might think it smells gross. Anyways, let's talk about this plant. I have so many blooms on this plant now. Hold on. So, this plant, this beauty here, has been sitting right there under those LED lights for months and months. I've had it for a few years. This particular plant I've had for, oh god, I have to check my notes again, but I've had it for a few years, and it's a species plant. It's not a hybrid. This is an actual plant that grows in the wild. And there's its flower. It has like this prettiest little speckles. The flower itself, I don't know, it's kind of a greenish, whitish color, but those little purple specks, and I just love the shape of it. Let's just check out that shape. Let's go and zoom in. So that's my little beauty, and in the right light, the petals just have a sparkly shine to them. It's so pretty. So it's a really pretty flower with a really lovely smell. I find it a lovely smell. I have gotten it to rebloom 2 times for me now. I think I've had it for like 2 years, maybe 3 years. It was kind of struggling. I had only 2 blooms. Both times only had 2 blooms. I bought it off of eBay. It was in pretty good shape. It was pretty big to begin with, but when I moved it into semi-hydro, it kind of liked it, but I had some dieback. I don't know what happened, but something happened where the bulbs would get kind of a weird color, and I don't know, it was weird, but they're fine. And then I also had a bit of a fungus on here, sprayed it for fungus. It's fine. New leaf growth has looked really nice since treating it. For a while there, the bulbs were getting really shrivelly, like it was really thirsty, and I wasn't able to give it the amount of water it needed. So I repotted it into a pot in a pot. So it's kind of a semi-hydro thing where it sits in some water, but I can make the reservoir as deep as I want because it was really thirsty. So I needed to give it more water at a time, and it drank that water pretty fast. Then I just kind of neglected it, and I left it alone over much of the summer. And I watered it again, and then ta-da. And I added some bark too to add just a little bit extra moisture because it really was dry and sad. But then, now that it's been getting the water and the moisture it wants, I have 8 or 9 blooms, including buds. Let's see. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then possibly 7. There's something in there. Okay, so I have 7. I thought there was one more. Still, that's a heck of a lot more than I've ever got. Oh wait, oh that's right. There's that little guy right there. So 8. It's more than I've ever gotten on this plant before, and especially I was having some major struggles with it. I really had a funky color, discolor to its leaves. Then I had bulbs die back, and then it was just shrivelly. And now I think I've got it. I think it's happy and healthy because it's blooming like crazy. That was a really nice little surprise because I checked this plant like a week ago, didn't really see anything. And then just this plant literally goes into bloom like that. Like, just forget about it, and then you come back and you're like, oh my god, it's in bloom. Some plants, you know, you'll watch the bulbs develop and you're like, ooh, I'm gonna get a flower, or the spike develop. But no, this guy, like, I'm pretty sure there's probably a bulb or something growing in here, but you just kind of see this and you think nothing really of it. You're like, meh, it might do something, it might not do something. And then before you know it, you've got flowers. So, Encyclia garciana, lovely plant. It kind of likes it cool to intermediate. Light, it's really not picky. I've grown this and bloomed this when I first got it in an east-facing window. And I've also bloomed it under a T8 light. But for the most part, I've been getting best growth under, well, this LED light that I bought for my aquarium. But this has been growing under that light. It's grown under the red lights too, but this particular bloom was all done right here. So what else about this little space might be what this plant needs? It's really a good amount of light coming from this. It's pretty close to the light, as you can see. Then right down below, under all that stuff, is a heater. And then there's a fish tank. And I'm keeping that fish tank there as kind of a humidifier because the heater's underneath it and there's some bubbles and it just keeps the area a little more humid. Let's see what I got going on here. So this is 32%. It gets up into the 40s. So that's where, oh, and there's my temperatures. 63 Fahrenheit at night and staying in the low 70s during the day. So that's the type of climate this plant has been growing so well in. So that's my Encyclia garciana that has a really good bloom, but I do think drying it out might have encouraged extra blooming. I don't know, my lights, I think I did change my lighting, the amount of time my lights were on. I have it like more like a winter time, so they're on less hours of the day, and in the summertime I do turn my lights on to be on as long as the daylight hours are. So I like, it's proven, it is definitely a proven fact that the amount of light your plant receives can and will affect its growth. Period. End of story. I don't care what anybody else says. It's true. Okay, fine. Sorry. I do care what other people think, but it just seems so obvious when you've grown other plants that, you know, are used to seasons or light changing, the equinox and all. Yes, granted, some of these plants, like this stinking plant in particular, you know, it comes from Costa Rica, and it's a Psychopsis, the only one that's doing okay after the transplant. You know, this thing grows naturally in Costa Rica, and Costa Rica tends to have longer days all the time because it is closer to the equator. So yes, you know, some plants are going to be more sensitive than other plants when it comes to the amount of light they get during the day. But thank you for watching, and if you ever get the chance to get a little Encyclia garciana, I think you should, because they're like little cute fairies. So pretty. I kind of like them when they're upside down better, because then they look like fairies. But gorgeous, fun plant, love it. Happy growing.